You found us. I'm so glad you did, but I am sorry that you had to. Who are we? I'll tell you what we're not. We're not old, we're not boring, and we're not giving up. So come on into our Widow Circle, where trauma meets humor, and we remind you that you can not only survive, but thrive. This is Every Widow Thing. Hi, everyone. This is Whitney.
And this is Holly. Hey.
Hey.
It's just us today.
We're doing something a little different this time, and hopefully the sound quality is still up to par. But it's just Holly and I, and we're sitting in my kitchen.
Wait, Jack's here too.
Yes.
Jack is the dog.
You may hear my dog Jack at some point snoring or barking. It's just the two of us today, but we wanted to get on and have a little conversation about the things that have been going on in our lives recently. We're both free birds.
I was like, what is it called again?
You were about to say empty nester.
No, I wasn't, because I knew. And
you
then
knew that wasn't
I was
it.
like trying to remember what the new term is.
Yes, the new term is free bird, if you didn't know, which I like. It's a much better spin on what's going on. But my nest is feeling very empty.
Very quiet.
Yes, I wasn't expecting it. And I think you were like this too, Holly, because both our boys were gone a lot. They were still living here.
My house was quiet anyway, like all the time. But I always knew he was going to come home at some point.
Right.
At some point at night.
Right, exactly. I know, because I have two other kids that have flown the nest, if we're still going to use those analogies. And once they're gone, I won't talk to them for like 2 weeks. You know? So that's the difference. Why are you laughing?
What do you do, Whitney?
No, but I'm just saying, like, my kids, I'm no longer in their day-to-day lives. And so even though for me, like, Campbell wasn't home all the time, you know, and he would even spend the night out and he'd be gone all day, either at work or the skate park or whatever, I knew that I was going to see him at some point every day or every other day.
Have food in the warmer.
Yes, always food in the warming drawer. Now my warming drawer is cold and empty.
You
like
can
my
warm
house.
some food for me.
You think that my food in there is actually good, but it's
better
not very good.
Better than nothing.
But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, that's why the house feels so much quieter, even though it's the same day to day. I'm not having those moments with him. Either it's take the trash out or get up.
Oh, so I went to pull the trash to the curb.
Yes. Did you cry?
No, there wasn't anything in it.
That's the other thing.
I had not taken the trash out from in the house to the trash outside. There wasn't any trash.
No, I know.
Because I haven't been cooking.
Well, the first time I had to take my trash cans out to the street, I got teary because that was his job. And I'm like, who's going to take the trash out for me now? No one. And then I came in and opened up the refrigerator, and there was some leftover spaghetti that I had made for him. And I was like, who's going to eat this spaghetti? And I cried. And I was like, this is ridiculous. But it is sad. It's very difficult. And then it's just we've talked about this a lot of, you know, grief, it comes out to play at that point too. Because it's like, oh, I'm all alone and my husband's dead.
And as far as like what I've had a hard time with, drop off did not go as I envisioned it would go.
You had some
we
bumps
had some
in
bumps
the road.
in the road with the roommate, and you know, not knowing anyone on campus and saying goodbye and leaving your child in another state.
That's so much harder. Yes. Mine's in another city, but just an hour and a half away.
But you have one in another state.
Oh, yeah. When I took Hayden to Oklahoma, and even this year, the second year, it didn't go as planned. Because I'm imagining like, wow, Mom. I'm imagining like Leave It to Beaver. Like, wow, Mom, you're the greatest.
Gee whiz.
Thanks so much, Mom, for driving 6 hours with all my crap in your car. And instead, He peeled out, left me in the dust.
Hayden!
Left me in the dust. Then I get pulled over by the police because I'm trying to catch up to him. He is long gone. Then I texted him and said, my feelings are hurt because I am driving this up there for you. Like, if you don't want my help, then you could have just rented a truck and taken it yourself.
Yeah.
And then I thought he'd be like, gee, Mom, I'm so sorry. Instead, he was like, that's your problem. If it hurts your feelings, that's on you. And I was like, you know what, jerk? So he's usually a very sweet boy, but in my mind, I have these ideas of how heartfelt and incredible it's going to be and how they're going to just say thanks for all you've done. We want it to be all
perfect because part of their lives haven't been perfect.
That's true.
And then, so after drop off, of course, the social media stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm like, why am I on here? And everybody's posts about their perfect, happy child in college. And
right.
It's all peachy perfect.
But that's fake.
Facebook.
But it's fake book.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my kid smile and take a picture, but I had to force it. He's like, I don't want to take a picture. I was like, you get over here. And then, he looks all happy and you think, oh, it was such a great drop-off.
Well, I know. And I made a post and it looks all happy and fun.
Happy.
But I wrote it wasn't peachy perfect.
You did write that.
I did write that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what gets me into trouble is the idea in my head versus what actually happens. And like you said, wanting it to be perfect for them, and your heart is breaking if you feel like they don't have any friends yet. And how are they going to meet people? And, is anyone going to know that their dad died and cut them a little slack? Like that's something that I would love to email all of their professors and say,
you
this
can't
kid,
do that, Whitney.
I know. But, the mama bear wants to keep protecting them.
Oh, 100%. The way I communicate now is with both of my boys is Snapchat.
Which I'm very impressed because I don't understand
I have to show you
Snapchat.
what I sent today to Zach.
Okay.
But,
teach
but what
me because
I do,
then I can start snapping them.
Well,
Is that what it's
I
called?
would,
Snapping?
like the other day, I was like texting him, like, did you talk to that professor about, or your advisor about changing class or whatever? And he wouldn't respond. And so I took a picture of Opal and wrote a little message on there. Opal wants to know.
Yes, that's hilarious. That is how you can get them to respond is by sending a picture of their pet.
Yeah.
100%.
And you can just message. Once you start a chat in there, you can keep chatting.
And they're on Snap more than
they respond to that.
Yeah. Right now.
For now, it's working.
Well, what would you say? So Holly and I, one of the ways we are exercising our free bird rights is by taking a trip. And that's something that I think we were so smart to do. Something to look forward to, something to plan after you take your kid to school. Then you have something to kind of
some distraction,
lift your spirits. Yeah.
And I just have to also let go. Like I'm a little nervous. I want them to be more settled before I leave on a trip, but I can't control that.
No. And what do you think you would be able to do? Like I said, jokingly, I would love to be emailing all of the professors, but I can't. And I will share an embarrassing story of helicopter parenting gone wrong. I was in my kids' schedule, right? So I have their login, which isn't necessarily the best thing. Don't do what I do.
You have to have their login so you can pay tuition.
Well, they can make you an authorized user, but you have to have their login so that you can check to make sure they're actually going to class.
Well, I like to see when
their grades.
No, I hadn't even, with Gabe, I have not once. He's a senior in college, and I have not once checked his grades.
Oh, wow. No, I made the mistake of not checking grades with my first kid, and she wasn't going to class. And I didn't find out until the end of the school year when it was too late to do anything about it. And I know that there are parents on there that go, let them fail and let them,
That's an expensive fail.
Right, exactly. I'm not going to let look, I did let her fail, but I hate those people that people get on Facebook and ask questions like, can you help me? My student is struggling with her roommate and I don't know. I'm trying to help her, right? And then all these parents, these know-it-all parents, will get on and be like, "It's called adulting. Let her handle it." And I'm like, you know what?
I mean,
you can bite it.
These moms just want help and support.
And I'm sorry, but I don't care what you say. There are some kids, not all 18-year-olds are the same. And some 18-year-olds are more like 45-year-olds. And some 18-year-olds are more like 12-year-olds. Yeah. And some 18-year-olds have had trauma in their life. And if I want to fucking get on and ask for some help, then I don't need you, know-it-all parent, coming on and giving me a hard time.
Yeah, those parents shouldn't even chime in.
No, zip it. All right, anyway, back to my helicoptering fail. So I had my kids log in, and it was before school started, and he has a certain schedule. But I noticed that on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, his first class and only class started at like 2 o'clock. And I was like, oh, that stinks.
Why did you even meddle in that? I don't.
Okay, well, because I was trying to make his life easier.
So now he's in.
So then I noticed that there was a Spanish class at 11:30 instead of at 2. And I'm like, this is great. And so I did talk to him first, and I said, hey, I noticed that there is an earlier Spanish class. And of course, I also went to rate my professor to make sure that the professor was good.
Good job, Mom.
No, dude, that is such a helicopter. Actually, it's a lawnmower it's a lawnmower parent where you try to just get rid of all the obstacles in their way instead of letting them handle it. So whatever. So he said, yeah, that sounds great. I said, great. I changed his schedule. And then he came home for the weekend and I go, how's school going? And he goes, oh, it's great, except for my Spanish class. And I go, oh no, what is it? And he goes, I'm in a heritage Spanish class. And I go, what's that? And he goes, it's for kids who have lived in a Spanish speaking household or been exposed to the language their whole life. And I was like,
poor Campbell.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, I had the same thing happen with Zach today because he did not go to one of his classes for a whole week because he was going to switch it, and then he decided not to switch it, so he's missed class.
Yeah, stuff like that literally fills me with anxiety. Like I will wake up in the middle of the night. I did wake up in the middle of the night worrying about
maybe I need to text
his
him right
heritage.
Now. Maybe
I just texted Campbell. But here's the difference, right? Of like this is the difference in being a widow and not being a widow. If Hunter were here, there's no way I would have been, quote unquote, allowed to do some of the shit I've done. He would have put a stop to it. He would have, handled it or told me to step off or whatever. These are the times when my husband would keep me from spiraling and keep me from being. Well,
you have somebody, a sounding board, like you could discuss it.
Right.
With him.
And you come up with something in the middle. Like my husband would be more like the know-it-all parent of like, well, he's got to figure it out. Right. And then I'm more of my baby. So if he were alive, there would be something in the middle.
Right.
In other words, Campbell would be in a regular Spanish class instead of the heritage Spanish.
Well, maybe he can get some of those Spanish-speaking students to help him.
I'm going to let it go. Oh. Anything else that we want to share about free birding it? Every time I say free bird, I am imagining someone giving the bird. just so you know.
I think we're all going through transitions, even Lacey and Kira, and we're all kind of feeling like we need to focus on other things and family and.
Oh yeah. So in light of being free birds, and we are going to be traveling, we're going to be a little less consistent.
Just more sporadic with our episodes.
Yes. We're going to try to really fully embrace this new transition. And for me, I want to try to figure out what I want for myself, Let
me know if you figure it out.
Okay. Hopefully it'll include you. But yeah, just take some time and figure out what's next for all of us. And This is a new transition. Kira still has a child that just started her freshman year of high school, which is a really important time to be fully available. You think that it's when they're younger, but really it's when they're older.
Oh, it's like so much harder.
Oh, it's so much harder. And you have to, don't be fooled by the fact that, oh, they don't want anything to do with us. That's when you have to be the most aware
present.
of what they're doing. Yeah. Because they can get into a lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And they need us, but they don't even know they need us. So anyway, the point is, I think we're going to still be here for you guys, but it's going to be a little less consistent. We do have a new Facebook group called Every Widow Thing Insiders, and that is a perfect way for our listeners to interact with each other.
Yes, get on there or join the Facebook group.
Yeah, you can join the Facebook group and continue to, check in with us. We're always available to read your DMs and ask or answer any questions that you might have.
I think it's also a good time or a good way on the Every Widow Thing Insiders group to connect with people in your area. We've had a lot of listeners reach out and say they don't know anybody wherever they live in other cities away from Austin.
That's a great. That's actually a great. I want to do a podcast episode on that because we have had several people say that they're super lonely and they can't find their group. So it would be great if we could come up with some helpful tips for those people. The first tip is go join our Every Widow Thing Insiders group on Facebook.
I've actually met other widows from Austin whose kids go to college in Colorado through the college Facebook group.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. This is a great point. We have had several people talk about how they feel alone. They are envious that we have found a group, but we were very lucky. Because this group came together, mutual friends, or in Holly and I's case, the middle school counselor at the school. But then we also all vibed well together. I mean, we've all met people that we didn't necessarily become good friends with. So it just worked out.
Well, and it's also the right timing and the place you're in your life. I mean, because I've gone through, like we've all gone through ups and downs and met other people that I didn't necessarily, like you said, become close friends with or hang out with.
Yeah. Here's what I have been telling people. Stop chasing like a group. Stop chasing people and go look for things that bring you joy.
Right.
So like for you,
boxing.
Yeah. And you now have a boxing group.
I went back to spin.
Yes. So you found
really
a couple of exercise groups and you're meeting new people in there.
Well, and that's how I connected with Lacey and Kira in the beginning.
Yeah. That's one way. Go join a class, an exercise class or a hiking group or if you enjoy crocheting, like there are
cooking.
Things, yeah. But
I want to take cooking classes.
But here's the thing.
Because I have so many people to cook for.
Right, because you really need to get those skills going.
I mean, travel, there has to be like...
Well, there are travel groups. And remember, we had an episode about travel with our friend Tiffany.
Right.
Rebuilding Joy. So you can find those groups, but those aren't necessarily groups that you find in your hometown. That's just something that you're going to go.
Okay, you're right. I'm going off,
yeah,
off the rail.
Right. You want to find your group in your hometown. Find a group.
Church.
Yes. And you can go, there's something called meetup.com. You can go to Facebook and just type in like Austin running group.
And there's the Austin, what's it called? The Facebook widow group.
You can try to start your own. If there's not a group on Facebook, start your own group. See if you can find people that way. But do activities. Find activities that you enjoy and go do them consistently. It's not one cooking class. It's a 6-week cooking class course where you actually get to know some people in the group. Or you go to the same boxing class every week and you get to know those people. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that I suggest is volunteering. Find a church group or the YMCA or a food bank or whatever brings you joy. An old person's home.
It's called a nursing home.
Okay. A nursing home. Or if you still have school-age children, volunteer at their school. When I first moved here, that's what I would do.
Even if you don't, go back and volunteer at the school.
I don't think you're allowed to volunteer if you don't have a kid there.
Really?
Then just random people could show up at your kid's school?
Well, they'll do background checks. Okay, take all this out.
I don't think so. Anyway, don't give up hope of finding your people. You just have to sometimes dig
if they
deeper.
know you, though, like if you used to have a kid there.
You just won't let it go. Yes.
I'm like, wait.
If your kids went to an elementary school, but they're in college, you could still maybe show up at the elementary school and be like,
a little bit weird.
I'd like to volunteer here. You get my point, though. Go put yourself in situations that bring you joy with people that you will see consistently, and the relationships will come.
Well, this is exactly what I've been telling my son that just started college. His roommate didn't show up. He knows no one. And I said, you are only going to meet people if you put yourself out there. So I told him to go to the rec center and play basketball, join a club, this and that. But it's the same thing.
It is. And it's not easy. And I recognize, look, when I moved to Austin, it was going to be difficult even if my husband hadn't died because my kids were now in middle school. You're not having after school play dates where you're sitting there getting to know the other parent. It takes more effort.
Wait, you had me over for a play date?
I did. It was an adult play date. But
when Zach came over.
Yes, no, you're right. You have to make.
I'm kidding. It's because you lived so far away.
But exactly. You didn't want to have to drive back home. But you have to make an effort, and it's not as easy as it was when your kids were in school, or if you had your spouse to be a couple with and go out and meet other couples.
Well, and also even if you're invited to a party, that was a big thing I had to overcome walking into a party alone. Go to the party, even if you go alone.
I mean, obviously you knew someone because you were invited to the party. So go to the party. That's the hard part, especially when you're depressed and down. It's very difficult to even get up and force yourself to take a shower, much less get dressed and go to a party. It's very awkward. But if you are truly wanting to find your people, then
and it may not always work out. You may not have fun at that party, but you might have fun at another party. I mean, you can't just say, "Oh, I don't want to go to a party because last time it wasn't fun."
Right.
Or
just
I felt lonely or whatever.
Yes.
But
a lot of it is about consistency. That's why I was saying, if you're going to take a class, make sure you go to that class multiple times, because it's not like you're going to immediately start talking to people in the boxing class the first time you go. It's going to take a while.
I know, and you only came one time, Whitney.
I don't need any more friends. Especially friends that like to work out. You want to find activities that you love doing, and then you're going to meet the people that also love to do those things. One other suggestion that I have, and granted, this is one, it really depends on your age, I guess, but Bumble is a dating app, but it also has the BFF side where you can go and put in your information to try to find other friends who may be in the same boat as you. No, it's not sad. Holly is making a tear go down her cheek, but it's not sad. You do what you need to do. Get yourself out there.
100%.
Meet people, try new things, don't give up. There are people out there for you. It's just sometimes difficult to find them. It's just like I would tell my kid, if you go into the lunchroom and you don't have anyone to sit with, find that other kid that's sitting by themselves.
I told Zach the same thing going into the dining hall. And he looked at me like I was crazy.
It's not easy, especially for someone who is shy.
Yeah.
To put yourself out there. But if you, again, can find an activity, maybe lunch is a hard thing. You're finding an activity that you have in common with somebody. So those are my 2 cents. But we know it can be lonely. You can always go to the
bar by yourself.
Oh, Lord, no. Do not go to the bar by yourself. On that note,
sit at the bar at a restaurant.
What no
and eat.
Okay, but no, and meet people.
Okay, take this part out.
No, dude, it's staying in. I don't know. Look, maybe, who knows? Do what makes you feel comfortable, but find something that brings you joy.
Oh, the dog park. If you have a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Take your dog.
If you don't have a dog.
I keep meaning to do that.
Maybe get a dog.
I keep
and
meaning
then you
to go
walk the dog, and
park.
you go to the dog park. It takes a little bit of time, but don't give up. And again, join our Every Widow Thing Insider group where you can meet some people that way that at least, I know it's virtual, but at least it gives you a little bit of a connection. While you're trying to find your people.
And there have been people that have connected. I think they were from San Diego, maybe, that have connected on the Insider group.
One other suggestion. If you aren't working, consider getting a part-time job. Substitute teach at your local schools.
You can meet lots of children.
Well, you learn to, you can meet the parents or you can meet people in the office. I don't know.
No, it's a great idea.
Do something to get out of your house. You're definitely not going to meet anyone sitting in your room. Go to a coffee shop and open up your laptop and pretend like you're working. These are all really great ideas. Anyway, it's not easy, especially when you're grieving. And then it's awkward, too, because you're like, hi, my name's Whitney. My husband's dead. And then everyone's like, nice to meet you. But it is doable. Don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Keep going.
Keep going. Survive and thrive. All right. Until next time, guys, thanks for listening. And again, we really appreciate the audience that we have. Don't stop connecting with us on our social media. We will be back with lots more stories, advice.
And we also love DMs and emails. Thank you for those who have sent things in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice when we can hear from people. We hope you have a great week.
We'll be back soon.